Hi everyone, I'm Jan. I'm with the Solution Architect team at Allocadia. Through our award-winning planning and budgeting platform, my team has helped thousands of CMOs and other marketers visualize a better way to maximize revenue from their marketing investments. My goal today is to show you how you can create, monitor, allocate, and optimize spend more efficiently to drive better performance for your business. I'm really excited to show you the Allocadia platform today. But instead of just throwing platform at you, I want to take you on a journey. I want to tell you a bit of a story. And today, we're going to use Donnybrook Technologies, a customer of Allocadia, although being fictitious, really representative of how our customers find value from Allocadia as a planning, budgeting, and investment tracking solution. What we're going to do is show you how they transition from a current state of disconnected, disjointed tools and moved into a purpose-built planning and budgeting solution like Allocadia. Now, before we dive in, let's introduce you a little bit to their marketing org. Hopefully you're ready. Let's get stuck in. Now, the folks at Donnybrook Technologies, their marketing team had a pretty well built out tech stack. Some of the key elements relevant to today's conversation are tools like Workfront, which they use to manage their projects, their tasks, their resources. A lot of marketing spend actually went through digital channels. So things like Google Ads and LinkedIn ads were very important. And ultimately, all of the returns and the results of their marketing campaigns were captured in their CRM, in this case, Salesforce. Now, Donnybrook Marketing was also supported by a great finance team. They leveraged Coupa to manage purchase orders and everything in the purchase management process. And SAP was their ERP of choice, where they managed things like invoices and payments. Really important to call out that Donnybrook is a complex matrixed organization. A lot of complexity across international teams and shared functions, really adding to the complexity of marketing plans and budgets. The problem at Donnybrook was the tech that they were using to manage these marketing plans and budgets. Disjointed tools, Excel spreadsheets, PowerPoint presentations, really creating headaches for marketers and finance alike when it came to reconciling, to understand where budget was, who had money left to spend, who was going to overspend, and ultimately which marketing spend was being directed into activities that were garnering strong results for the business. All of this a nightmare when working with things like spreadsheets. What we're going to look at today is how they shifted from this old world into a world of leveraging Allocadia, which started to provide them with real-time insights into the marketing performance of their business. What we're looking at here is the insights section of Allocadia, a series of dashboards designed to give the right insights to decision makers to really ensure that marketing is being run like a business. Imagine being able to log in and see how different marketing activity types are progressing. Of the budget that's been allocated, what's sitting and forecasted, what's being committed to spend, and what's already being spent. Being able to track investments across numerous dimensions in real time. Of the budget you have, how much are you on track to invest? Which teams are struggling to meet budget and which teams are doing well? Being able to track planning, budgets, and investments by the data points that matter to you. Understanding that of the money you plan to spend on your enterprise segment, how much are you actually on track to spend thus far into the year? Being able to bring in data from other important marketing tools, like project tools, in this case Workfront, to give a holistic view of both hard and soft costs, giving a really good overview into how marketing is progressing from a resource and spend perspective. Dashboards that empower other stakeholders, like those finance and accounting stakeholders, giving them the insights they need to track spend in the ways that matter to them. And ultimately, insights into how your business is performing at generating results. We'll look at how Donnybrook can use Allocadia to tie their actual marketing spend to the results that spend is generating, starting to give insights into which channels are performing badly, which channels are performing well, ultimately tying the spend of campaigns to the performance of those campaigns to start laying foundational ROI. This is the journey we're going to go on today. And really, for Donnybrook, where it started was this. Perhaps this resonates. A series of spreadsheets, disconnected, misaligned, unstandardized, providing headaches for marketers when it came to reconciling and tracking spend. The journey with Allocadia starts here. It's getting teams out of these spreadsheets and into what we call marketing activity plans. Now, we take these activity plans and we take the time to understand how your marketing org is structured so that we can start to set up your Allocadia instance in a way that makes sense for how your marketing org is structured. Let's see what this looks like in the platform. Here we're looking at Donnybrook's Home tab. Now, the Home tab here is where we're going to build out that hierarchy. Just like we saw in the visual, Donnybrook's business broken down into core functional areas of marketing, field marketing then broken down into regions, and then within each of these regions then exist the teams that get their own budget and thus have to manage their own plans. We're getting teams out of spreadsheets and shifting them to online activity plans that live nested within this hierarchy. Now, the hierarchy is going to serve a few key purposes. Firstly, it's going to allow us to get the right people into the right parts of the platform. So say I'm a marketer in this North American team. I could be invited at this level of the hierarchy, so when I log in, all I see is my plan. When I go to the reporting section, all I see is data relevant to me. Whereas the CMO, markups, other decision makers could be invited at the highest level of the hierarchy, so they have visibility into all plans, all budgets, all spend across the marketing organization. Since Donnybrook is an international business, a lot of their teams need to plan in local currencies. We can support that, whilst ensuring that everything rolls up to master currencies, simply managed by a table by finance in the back end. We've got you out of spreadsheets into online activity plans that live nested within this hierarchy. Donnybrook's pretty much ready to go from here. What we're going to look at from here is how they actually use Allocadia as they execute through any given fiscal period. We're going to start with the planning season. What is it like to plan and budget and allocate money throughout Allocadia? We'll then get into execution, when marketers need to start spending money and reconciling and ensuring they're not going over budget. How can Allocadia help? And then we'll finish with the optimize phase. The campaigns we launch, are they performing well? What are the results they're generating? Where should we focus money next time? Starting here with planning, let's take a look at what it's like to, first of all, as a leadership team, ensure that our marketing organization has the strategic goals set out for them so that they can start to plan effectively. I'm going to introduce you here to the strategy tab of Allocadia. Simply put, this is where we're looking to capture the objectives of your marketing organization. We're looking at 3 tiers in this case. Corporate goals. Donnybrook as a business, what are they looking to achieve this year? Capture their objectives in simple cards, giving them KPIs, owners, date ranges, etc. Then we can connect the dots. What is marketing going to be focusing on in order to hit these objectives? These objective cards can be connected to provide a kind of parent-child relationship, siphoning down ultimately to the bottom tier, team level objectives. Since marketing as a business at Donnybrook is going to be focusing on converting leads into customers, here are the team objectives laid out within Allocadia. Now, these objectives are captured to really give marketers a guiding light in terms of how to build and spend their money. Imagine having then dashboards to be able to see how you're actually tracking against those objectives. 6 months into the year, your CMO asks you, how are we actually going with our objective of increasing our ABM programs? The reason we have that strategy tab is to empower our marketing organizations to be able to report on these objectives. Thus far, I'm running 8 campaigns and I've spent $400,000 on campaigns that align to the increased ABM program objective. A really powerful capability to empower marketing with a new data point around your corporate, strategic, and marketing objectives. Okay, now let's actually get to the stage of the journey where the rubber's hitting the road. We're going to start allocating budgets and we're going to show you how marketers actually get into the solution to build plans. For today, I'm going to use this North American team as the example. Now, when it comes to budget allocations, the hierarchy can be used via this simple roll-up panel to start to allocate budgets at any level. In Donnybrook's case, their roll-up panel is configured specifically to suit how they think about budget allocation. It can be allocated from cost centers or to cost centers, different investment types or money pots. And in their case, they allocate budgets on a quarterly basis, and finance actually attach pipeline targets as well. This will be configured for each individual business to suit how they think about budget allocations. From there, we can actually get in. I'm going to go ahead and open up this North American activity plan. You'll notice now we are in the Activities tab. What were disjointed spreadsheets are now online activity plans connected here in Allocadia, available to anyone who has access to keep track across the business. I now urge you to think of this as the marketer's new workspace, the replacement of that spreadsheet. For Donnybrook, any budget this team's been allocated has now become a clear investment target. As they build their plans, they have a clear line of sight into how their planning is going. We even have returns planning so that marketers can start to see the impact that their marketing activities could have on pipeline or closed won revenue. Even visibility into how their plans align with the strategic objectives laid out by leadership. Then they have a simple workspace to basically use folders and subfolders to nest the line items and build their plans. i.e., I've got a folder for my events here. I'm running certain webinars and customer summits. Within each of these subfolders, then are the line items. Just like in spreadsheets, I can input my line items and start to capture the expenses of what I want to spend my money on. Really important here is the details panel. This, again, is going to be configured for each and individual customer based on the data points that are most important for both marketing and finance. In this case, I can call out that my webinar is relevant to demand creation. It's focusing on our American audience. It is an event and digital event activity type, and it's actually focusing on these stages of the customer journey. What are the data points that both your marketing and finance org would like to report on? That's what's going to be captured here, and that is what's going to start empowering your reporting. Imagine being able to see how plan and spend is going against those data points. Currently, we're planning to spend 4.4 million on enterprise and only 2.4 million on our mid-market segment. Various activity types, the personas your business focuses on, the products you sell, all new ways that you're going to be able to cut and dice your reporting through Allocadia Insights, all powered by this details panel. This is also where marketers can align their plans to strategic objectives. Here we can see that this webinar has been connected to these 3 specific objectives as laid out in the strategy tab. So marketers are building plans. They're starting to show how they're going to use their budget. They've got a series of views to cut and dice their data. They can filter by the data points that matter to them, all things we can configure for each and individual business. Great, planning season's done, budget's allocated, marketers have built plans. These plans can go through approval processes and get locked down. Let's now hit the execution phase. Where we're going to start with here is this idea of kickstarting workflows into other systems. And we'll start with things like project tools or marketing resource tools. In this case for Donnybrook, Workfront. Since my plan has now been approved, I'm going to switch from a planning view. I'm going to switch to my Q1 investment tracking view as we start to execute this year. You'll see all my plans are intact here. However, the grid has now slightly changed. For my webinar and all the line items I'm looking to execute, I can no longer update my plan in this case. It's locked down to give us an important data point of what we initially thought we were going to spend. Now I have a forecast column where I can come in and very quickly update any updated forecasts, and I can even have custom tags set up so I can provide context as to why my forecast is changing. Things like scenario planning, ensuring that marketers can plan around specific scenarios, super important here as well. But let's get back to Workfront. I've got a digital promotion. I've had budget approved. The line item's been captured here in Allocadia. I can again open up the details panel. And here I've had specific workflow actions configured for me. This is going to be different for every business, but in Donnybrook's case, you can see the action buttons they have created for them. I could go ahead and kickstart or request a new task or a new project within Workfront. In essence, syncing all elements of my plans and budgets in Allocadia with that project or that task in Workfront. Now we can start to sync both ways via API between your project and resource tools around your marketing investments, as well as your resource and human time data points. Next up, let's now start thinking about that process of, I've got a line item which I need to bring to life. I need to go engage a vendor and spend money. We're going to look at how Donnybrook can use Allocadia to allow marketers to kickstart that purchase order or purchase requisition process, in this case, into Cooper. I have my digital promotion line item selected, and right here, I have a simple Cooper Create Action button. Imagine allowing marketers to be able to kickstart purchase orders or purchase requisition processes directly from Allocadia, making the selections they would if they were logging into Cooper themselves. What supplier am I using? What are the details? I can attach files and I can submit. In essence, raising a purchase order or requesting a purchase order directly from Allocadia. Now, what's super important in this step is not just making life easier for marketers, but what Allocadia is looking to do here is to inject a unique ID. Every line item in Allocadia has a unique identifier. By injecting this ID into the purchase order, whether it's in a notes field or a dedicated ID field, really empowers us now to bring data back from your financial tools. Finance is going to set up a couple of automated exports for us. One, which captures a list of all your purchase orders, and one which captures a list of all your invoices. Because Allocadia has injected that ID, we now can start to automatically reconcile your committed and actual spend against your specific plans and your line items. Diving back into the platform here, I'm going to have a look at a direct mail series I'm running, a CXO empowerment series, CXO Kits. As you can see, I have a clear plan, an updated forecast, and I have near real-time visibility into what's sitting in a purchase order, what's been committed, and what's already being spent. Allocadia taking that data from your finance systems, automatically reconciling it against specific line items. What this means for the business is not just making life easier for marketing and for finance when it comes to reconciling, but think about it from a reporting perspective. Dashboards which are now going to give you near real-time visibility into what is your budget, what is your spend amount, and how much are you actually on track to invest. Right now, Donnybrook, a few months into the year, they've got 3.1 million sitting in future forecast by marketers. $623,000 is currently sitting in a purchase order status, and 1.8 mil has already been spent. This data being synced from your finance tools to provide accurate forecasts into how marketers are using up their budget. Which are the teams or the groups that are struggling to meet budgets? Who are the teams that are going to land with a very low variance against their budget? Again, tracking spend by those dimensions that matter. All of this made possible because of the way that we are syncing data from your financial tools. What about digital channels? We talked about Donnybrook and the importance and how much money goes through different digital channels, namely Google Ads and LinkedIn. Let's take a look at how we can actually sync spend directly from these digital channels, knowing that that is a unique bucket of spend for marketing, where bulk purchase orders or bulk invoices are often in place. Because we have connectors or pre-built integrations with these digital channels, it means we can now start to sync data directly. Imagine your social or your digital teams being able to gain real-time visibility into what money's actually being spent, automatically bringing in the campaigns and the ad groups that various teams are executing. All of this data living in dedicated digital plans or coming into those various field marketing team plans, for example, as we see here directly within Allocadia, the North American Donnybrook plan. We're syncing digital spend data directly from your digital channels so that you can get the granularity you need around digital spend, bringing that in and giving you a holistic view into how marketing is actually spending its dollars. Let's get to the optimize phase. Really, this is all about this idea of all the campaigns and initiatives that we're spending money on as a marketing organization. How are we going at generating results? Donnybrook Technologies, they use Salesforce. So we're going to show you how our Salesforce integration allows marketers to align their plans, their spend, and their budget to the campaigns that are capturing all the results in Salesforce. Let's go have a look at that webinar that we were looking at earlier. Again, I'm going to open up the details panel. Our Salesforce integration is going to allow for a few things. If your business desires, perhaps this is where campaigns can actually be created directly from. If not, then allow marketers to call out that, hey, this webinar, all the results are going to be living in this specific campaign in Salesforce. Simply by making that connection, we can empower two very critical things for a marketing organization. Firstly, we can aggregate the spend that is happening within Allocadia and send it to your Salesforce objects. So your Salesforce campaigns are always up to date with the most recent marketing spend. Secondly, we can start to bring in the performance of these campaigns directly into Allocadia. That's where our pipeline and ROI dashboards come into play. In this case, we're looking at a simple tactical ROI pipeline dashboard. I've selected a few of the specific channels I'm interested in. The dashboard is now showing me in real time how much money have we actually spent on these various channels. Donnybrook has spent $637,000 thus far this year. Now, the various campaigns and initiatives they're spending that money on has generated $1.7 million in pipeline. Now, different metrics matter to different businesses, whether it's leads, pipeline, close won revenue, all metrics that we can look to set up around your dashboards. The idea is visibility into the money your marketing org or channels or groups within your marketing org are spending, and what are the results being generated. Starting to calculate basic attribution models, whether it's multi-touch, first touch, or last touch. Which are the channels that are performing really well from an ROI perspective? Conferences, this is how much we've spent, this is how much we've generated in pipeline. It's proving to be very successful versus the channels where we're struggling. The idea is simply marrying your campaign spend with your campaign performance in a systematic and standardized and automated way, really laying the foundation for better ROI calculations within your business. Now, all of this data can be visualized within Allocadia dashboards. Our Insights section is an embedded BI tool, so you can build custom reports and dashboards. Or if you're using a BI, analytics, or data warehouse tool, export the data to the platforms where you want to do your reporting. The choice is yours. Hopefully you're starting to see value in terms of how Allocadia can go about creating a better means for managing marketing plans and investments. At Allocadia, we've got a lot of customers who leverage our solution to make better decisions as marketing organizations. My team works closely with companies like Autodesk, Charles Schwab, Juniper Networks, and Land O'Lakes, large enterprises who collectively manage more than $25 billion marketing dollars within Allocadia. Thanks to our platform, they've been able to reduce the time they spend on budgeting and planning by as much as 40%, all while doubling their pipeline to spend ratio and improving the accuracy of their ROI calculations, as we saw today through some of the dashboards and reports. As you can see, Allocadia helps you navigate a constantly shifting market, so important today. Provides better transparency of your marketing spend across all categories and brands and dimensions that may matter for you, ultimately providing your marketing org with tighter controls and improved accuracy, fueling better decision making. I really want to thank you for your time today and watching today's demonstration of Allocadia and going on a journey with us in Donnybrook Technologies. Hopefully you've enjoyed your time, and I'll leave you with a question. Are you ready to take the next step?